All right.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome back over here. 3 Reasons Why. We over here kicking up some shop talk, talking about our top 5 favorite boxers, personal favorites. Well, we're gonna do the best we can. The sport of boxing has been going on since the early 1900s. So you know what I'm saying. So we gonna put some on there with some honorable mentions. If you guys, you know what I'm saying, agree, disagree, put it in the comments. Let us know who your top 5 is. We'll hash it out. But it's your boy, the 209 Tiger, and I'm over here with.
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Karma Sense Marcus in the building. Raw on the cut always. Straight from my mama. North Cali, stand up. Let's get these boxing going, man.
That's CDP 209, Las Vegas, Nevada, born and raised, Stockton, California. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Let's get it.
But yeah, like I said, we over here talking shop about boxing. The good old, you know what I'm saying, gloves up, the sweet science. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna kick it.
sweet science.
I kick mine off, you know what I'm saying? Let me get into some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention, I have to put an asterisk by his name because I never was really like all that great of a fan, and I believe he was an avid steroid user, and that's Manny Pacquiao, the
Mm.
Pac-Man himself. That's why I put an asterisk by his name because the man was scared to needle test with Floyd Mayweather Jr. But I can't deny what I've seen. What I've seen from him in his career and the career that's still going on. Even though after them steroid allegations came out, he ain't knocked nobody out since. So you know, you know, like CDP say, where there's smoke, there's fire. If you ain't putting nobody on their back, after they saying you on roids, something might be wrong. But yeah, Manny Pacquiao, he got in there with everybody, put a lot of cats down, was really dominant, had great fights with Marquez, a lot of people. Yeah, my first honorable mention, you go Manny Pacquiao with an asterisk.
That's what's up. That's a good honorable mention, man. A lot of people gonna be like, "What? Not the top five?" But he's not in my top five neither. So you know what I'm saying. Sit down, Manny Pacquiao. Great fighter though. Bobby Ains, great trainer. I mean, the boy took off in the early 2000s. He did the damn thing. But my first honorable mention, and the boy was so close. I mean, I should have probably put him in my top five. But coming in with a professional record of 200 fights, 173 wins, 109 KOs, 19 losses, 6 draws, 2 no contests. Talking about the sweet science. Talking about Sugar Ray Robinson. Now, the boy didn't make my cut because, let's be real, I didn't watch a lot of his fights. It was all on tape. You know what I'm saying? Learning the boxing from tape is hard to be like, ooh, did you see that? Ooh, man. But that boy's a bad mamma jamma. I mean, he still looked like he ready to fight at like 70 or 60, whatever he is right now. The boy still looking smooth, but Sugar Ray Robertson's my honorable mention. Sorry to make my top five, but it was just strictly no tape on you that I sat there and watched. I wasn't really a big fan as a young child. Took me a little bit to get there, but I respect you enough. I respect your talent. 200 fights? Come on, man. 200 fights? Professionally, you got to get honorable mention. So that's Sugar Ray Roberts, my honorable mention.
I got this. This has been tough. I got my honorable mention, sort of. I'm still indecisive because every time my name pops up, I'm just like, wow. But one of my first honorable mention, I'm just going by player, like our players, the boxers that I've seen. And my first one, honorable mention, is Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Okay, let's go.
And that fight against him and Hearns. Man, that was like the coldest fight. I put a slash before that. Hearns, Hearns and Hagler is my first honorable mention together. That fight that they had, oh man, that was crazy. They were stinging each other like that's probably the greatest fight I've seen all time. That Marvelous and Hagler and Hearns fight. So that's my first honorable mention right there.
All
All
right,
right, all
yeah,
right.
Hagler. Yeah, that's still those fights. Yeah, I've watched those fights. On like ESPN Classic or just watch the fights themselves. Those fights were brutal, and they all had to fight each other. Like they all got them up with one another. But yeah,
they didn't run from each other back then.
let's start to get it in. Okay, I'm gonna go honorable mention, and I'm gonna jump into number 5. Next honorable mention, Juan Manuel Marquez. I liked Juan Manuel Marquez a lot. His fights, you know what I mean? He came to bring it. He had those war with Pacquiao. You know, he was more to me better put together than like Eric Morales, even Barrera. But I liked Juan Manuel Marquez. I like Juan Manuel Marquez a lot. My last honorable mention, and I know a lot of people probably ain't gonna like it, but Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Junior or senior?
I mean senior. My bad, senior.
Yeah. I was like, okay,
my bad.
all right.
Nah, senior's trash. Senior. I mean, he was awesome. I question a lot of the people he fought once I got older, but I mean, he was awesome to watch. You know what I mean? Complete fighter, body, everything. You know what I mean? I really liked the Chavez Jr. a lot. But now, let's get into number 5. This is hard. I'm going to go with Bernard Hopkins, the Executioner.
At number 5. Whoa.
My boy B-Hop. And it was tough because it's tough because him and number 3 were kind of like, that was really my toss-up because I think I was pretty content with 4. But 3 and 5 were kind of like, it was just as hard as 1 and 2. But I'm going to go Bernard Hopkins, the Executioner. I mean, man, if his fights weren't so boring, he'd be higher on my list. But he was just really dominant, really defensive, and he would just smother you and take the life out of you. You know what I mean? It took him a long time to get his due. He was a champion into what, his 40s?
Yeah, I think 11 straight years, didn't lose a fight.
And he was still boxing in after his 40s. So Bernard Hopkins, the knockout of Trinidad. I mean, you know, like Bernard had his moments. He dropped De La Hoya, but it was the Trinidad. It was the one when he took the Puerto Rican flag and threw it on the ground and started like a damn near mini rumble and shit. It came and slept him the next day or whatever. Like, that's the B-Hop I always remember, the one that was just straight out of Philly, you know? Thought about Bernard was a knock on the corner out there, you know, getting it in. He was like the boxing DMX, Bernard Hopkins, you know? It's kind of like that one dude that might be in like that little cheap Hanes, like white tee, little white beater just out there. And you're like, damn, man, that's Bernard? Like, he just kind of had that grittiness that, you know what I mean? But Bernard Hopkins, B-Hop, the Executioner. That's my number 5 right there.
That's what's up. That's a good pick. Yeah, before I jump into number 5, I'm gonna give one more honorable mention. I mean, it's just hard to get down to these are my personal top 5, not the greatest of all time. You know, you might have something different. But anyways, next honorable mention, the great man that you did not want to see coming at you, especially in his prime. But that's George Foreman. That's a big country motherfucker. 81 fights, 76 wins, 68 KOs. So either he gonna knock you out or he ain't. 5 losses. But George Foreman, man, with the fro, George Foreman, dude, I don't give a fuck who you is. You was scared. You was scared to get in the ring with that dude. But I'm sorry you didn't make my cut. This is my top 5. It just goes again, like, I didn't see too much of your fights. Now, there's somebody on my top 5 that I didn't see no fights, but, you know, respect to them. But anyways, George Foreman, honorable mention. Coming at number 5, Carl, you know, said this man's name already, so we just going to keep it right there. My personal number 5, Julio Cesar Chavez, Sr., 107 fights, 6 losses, 2 no contests, 86 KOs. It's kind of questionable who he fought. You know, the Mexican card is like, just put anybody up there. But the reason why he made my list, my dad loved this dude. Stockton loved this dude. Like, I remember I was 7, 8, 9 years old. Like, hey, Julio Cesar Chavez fights on. The whole city shut down to watch that dude fight. Much respect to the Mexican people. Much respect to Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. I'm sorry your son didn't follow your footsteps. He's garbage. But Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., that dude just come out looking like Karate Kid with the Mexican version and just tap you all night, like ba 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 ba. I still remember my dad, like I think I was like 7 years old. I don't remember who he was fighting, but I just remember my dad was pumped. And that feeling I got, like looking at my dad, like, damn, you get pumped for this? All right, let me get pumped too. So definitely Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. coming in as number 5 on my pick.
My last, I know everybody's doing honorable mention, but I just want my list to be fighters that I've seen. But my last, like, respect due to, you know what I'm saying, always legends. It's kind of more of a pay my respect to than an honorable mention. And there's multiple boxers. But here's some right now. I want to give my respect due to Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis,
Mean Joe.
Sugar Ray Leonard, James Toney, Floyd Patterson, Julio Cesar Chavez, Rocky Marciano, and I just want to give respect to them because the way I've seen people talk about them and videos I've seen, like they the gods, man. They the ones like fighting bare knuckle and wasn't this old big ass parade and money for it. People they were fighting to live. You know what I mean?
Yo, shout out to Rocky Marciano. 49-0 stood forever. Damn near.
Jack Johnson. You know what I mean? So these cats were fighting for their life. You know what I'm saying? Now it's all about that cash. But you know what I'm saying?
Respect, like.
I just want to pay respect to them. You know what I'm saying, for giving us the sport. But with that, number five list. This man, I wish it was 10 because it's a lot. But coming in on my number 5, first person I seen put the swagger on the map was Pernell Whitaker. He got robbed by your boy Julio Cesar Chavez. He beat that ass. But Pernell Whitaker, dude, man, you can't explain his style, man. He tag you up, then he be standing behind you in the next second. You know, this is the greatest defense I've seen next to your boy Floyd Mayweather. Like his defense was just crazy, man. He'd stand right in front of you. You couldn't touch that dude. You know what I'm saying? He was like water. You feel me? But that's my number 5, Pernell Whitaker. You know, he'd be higher if he didn't go down by fucking with that cocaine, man.
Yeah.
And cocaine is a hell of a drug, man, when you got a pocket full of money. Yeah, number 5, Pernell Whitaker.
Cocaine took out a lot of good people in this lifetime of mine.
Yeah, I haven't seen that fight in so long. I feel like I want to go rewatch that fight, that Whitaker and Chavez. I ain't seen that fight in ages, but yeah, like I said, yeah, we're moving along. Before number 4, my last honorable mentions, my last one, CDP just mentioned him, Pernell Whitaker, for those reasons. For me, he was kind of like almost like Floyd before Floyd, but I just remember, they used to always be like, man, this dude is like a for real boxer. Like, when they used to be like boxing, they'd be like, yo, watch him. Like, he's what they say, like, the sweet science, and he has it all down. Pernell Whitaker was very great. But number 4 was hard because I watched this guy a lot. I didn't particularly like this guy a lot, but his skills was almost beyond. If it was just skills, this guy could be up there at number 1 for me if we were just talking about pure skill. But since I very disliked him, Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr., he was so good, so great. He was one of the first people I see that was just so much better than the people he was fighting. He was just toying with them. Forget the chicken dance or whatever, but that's how outrageous it got after a while. There was just no challenge for him out there. He was just trying wild things in the ring. Um, he went from what? Middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight to heavyweight, even though, I mean, he ain't beat no major people at heavyweight. He took like the quiet man out. But I mean, he beat Bernard Hopkins. He beat Tony. I mean, when it was like Prime Roy, he shut it down. So I mean, his skills to me was just like, man, you almost could make a choice like he could be top three almost all time just because of his skills. Like he wore his body out with all that up and down. You know what I mean? I'm going middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight, super middleweight. That's going back and forth. But Roy Jones Jr. I give him respect. I give him credit. You know, he was bad, and like I said, he was one of those, like, even though I was rooting against Roy, you know, I got to watch him put on display his technique, and he was just putting people out. Body shots, man. I mean, I seen him hit that one dude with a body shot. That guy was going into convulsions on the side. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, did he break his hip? I mean, Roy had power. He had power. He had speed. He had defense. He got lazy and stopped putting it together. Became more of a little pop shot artist or whatever. But yeah, Roy Jones. I was happy when Tarver knocked him out. Woo, that was my time. With Tarver put him. Well, he didn't knock him out, but you know, he knocked him and then he got up all discombobulated. But then right after that, he was doing the warm up for Tarver against Glenn Johnson, and Glenn Johnson was the one where they took him in the stretcher. That was the one where he bounced his head off, and that was it. After that, Roy was never the same.
That's a good pick, man. Shout out to Roy Jones Jr. A similar thing. I didn't like that dude. Like, something about him, I was just like, what the fuck? But the boy is talented. He should make somebody's list. He didn't make mine, but I'm glad his name got mentioned. Coming at number 4 for me, another man that obviously I wasn't around to see, but he was just impactful in the ring as much as he was out of the ring. The man got sayings that we all say now. The man was born one name, but we know him as Muhammad Ali. Boy, it was 56, 5, 0, and 0. 37 Ks with the gold medal. One of his famous things that he said all the time was outside of the ring. He was like, you want me to go fight these Kung Fu? These Viet Cong didn't do shit to me and my people. You take your ass over there and fight those Viet Congs. All-time classic. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mean, the man was just with it up here as much as he was with his fist. So, you know, peer boxing talent, I don't know, but the boy was a showsman. True showsman for the time. He had a constant uphill battle being in the 60s with some other boxers, you know what I'm saying? Once he switched his name up, they turned against him like, wait, what? You ain't fighting for what? You better go do this. But Muhammad Ali, just for a showsman, as far as boxing, as far as being a living legend, that dude got to be on my list. But he's coming in at number 4 for the fair fact that I wasn't around to see him in his prime. The Muhammad Ali I see now, unfortunately, is the old beat down, got beat up, and then his daughter talking a lot. And, you know, I don't want to hear that. But coming at number 4 for me, Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest shit talkers of all time. And I'm a shit talker, so just on that, he got to make my list. But Muhammad Ali, gold medalist too, by the way. Can't go wrong with that, man. Oh, I can at least. But he's coming at number 4 for me.
Number 4 for me, like I said again, I'm going with boxers I've seen and watched. Number 4 for me, kind of a toss-up, but I'll say number 4 for me, Oscar De La Hoya. He's probably one of my greatest. All his fights was live, and he fought with a lot of heart. And a lot of folks talked a lot of shit, popped a lot of shit on him. and he came out there and he whooped their ass. You know, I mean, they did some disrespect. I seen some disrespectful shit down to him. He came out there and he beat that ass. He had power. He had hand speed. And he didn't talk no shit. He just went out there and kicked your ass. You know, then I guess the life, when you got a pocket full of money, you know what I'm saying? The life got him. You know, he got lazy and started getting beat. And I think the talent just around him just started getting better. The younger boys started coming in. You know what I'm saying? He had to take a seat and get money like that. But number 4, Oscar De La Hoya. He, not just because of the fighting skill, just the heart that he showed in the ring, you know what I'm saying? A lot of pride, a lot of Mexican pride in him. He represented his flag. And yeah, his personal life, wearing lingerie and shit, you know what I'm saying? That's his business.
That's his business.
The fishnet.
We talking not personal life.
You know, like I'll give it to Oscar. You know, I mean, he was taking pay-per-view. He took it to where it was. You know what I mean? Before Floyd took it to where it's at, which is kind of good and bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like LeBron James in basketball. I mean, he opened it up to where there's no shame if you got to run to another team and join up and go win a title that way. And then you got Kevin Durant and other people doing it. Oscar was the first to be like, well, let's start picking who we fight. And let's start dictating all the terms. And then Floyd took it and was like, well, I'm just going to sell the hot dogs and sell the sodas, and I'm going to control every aspect of it. But yeah, Oscar got him up with pretty much almost everybody. Picked his times, but, you know, he got him up with almost everybody.
Yeah.
That's number 4.
When he come back with number 3, you know, 3, 2, and 1. But you know, can't be no punk about it. I'll go with my boy, man, the Ox, Lennox Lewis. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy. You know, a lot of reasons. You know, and it's not nothing against the old fighters. Like, it ain't nothing against the greats like Ali or Frazier or Foreman or people I didn't watch, but I ain't gonna lie, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't watch, and a lot of them I ain't go back and watch. So it's just like that's so what they say, the past is buried in the past for me on something. So I can't front and be like, you know, this list is hard, but I'm just going off my personal faves of watching pretty much in like my early teen to adult. So Lennox, man. Lennox got dropped. He got dropped by Oliver McCall. He came back, made the man cry. He's a gold medalist. I mean, come on, man. He put it on Riddick Bowe. He got robbed in the decision against Holyfield and came back and got the win back when Holyfield was just headbutting people to survive. You know what I mean? Who dropped him? Rockman? You know, because hey, Lennox was prone to flash knockdowns, but as far as personal favorites, hey, Lennox, you know what I mean? And he came back and took out Rockman. Tyson, you know what I mean? Tyson was pretty much already gone by that time, like mentally, but you know, he put it on Mike. I don't know if his what the Klitschko, I don't like the one we were talking about. I don't know if that was declared a no contest or if it was ruled a win by him because it was past a certain amount of rounds. But Lennox, man, he would just go in there like Bernard Hopkins. His fights weren't the most entertaining, but he'd just jab you until you just tired of putting your hands up for that jab, and then he'll just come bam. Like what? He was what? Like he was tall too. Like what? Yeah. Like 6'7" or something like that. Like 6'6".
He was tall.
Remember when he got slid though? Remember when Lennox got slid though? Man, that was crazy. That dude hit him, punch that he throw. Hit him with that hook. It was hella funny because he was so tall, like you said.
Yeah.
He just slid.
I don't know what it was. It's like Lennox Lewis would be like very defensive, and that was the thing. He was like real organized. he always, you know what I mean, went through his techniques, you know, real technical, but he was just prone to let his guard down at certain points and get whack. You know what I mean? It's like, and that was it.
That's like that dude, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua got that same mentality, but I don't know what's up with him. He's missing something.
Yeah, he is. He's missing, because at least Lennox had like fight and desire and competitiveness. Anthony Joshua, it's like he's missing something inside.
Like you pop him in the mouth one time, he's gone. His mental is gone. It seemed like
pissed off something.
I'm just like a lot of these boxers now. Lennox would just get them up out of there, like Wilder, and a lot of these people don't know how to fight good. You know what I mean? Like you got to know how to box to beat him, or you got to catch him. You got to catch him with his guard is down for like that little brief period. And bah!
Yeah,
boy Lennox.
Lennox stick to the script. That's why people, I ain't gonna say dislike him, but weren't too hyped about his fights because they know he was gonna go by the script. You know what I'm saying? He stuck by the script. Whatever his trainer, that's what he did. Like a machine. You know what I'm saying? Like folks want to see you get hit in the mouth and come back and wild out. You know what I'm saying? And
but also, I think it helped Lennox that his trainer was Emmanuel Stewart from out there. You know what I'm saying? Like from out there, like Detroit or whatever. Yeah. So they would, you know what I mean? Like how Jim Harbaugh was doing that with Alex Smith when he's beating on his shoulder pads and shaking him up. Like they would do that stuff to Lennox. Like, man, you a beast, you a dog. You know, Lennox is. He was fighting for what? Canada was he fighting for Britain or Canada in the Olympics? I know he's from Britain.
I want to say Canada, I think. I'm not sure though.
For Canada, but anyways, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, you gotta put that toughness in Lennox. He ain't just like no dog or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he a solid boxer. You can't take nothing from him, but I never liked that dude. I vouch for Tiger. You know what I'm saying? That dude's always like that dude. I always hated that dude for whatever reason, but he would win fights and just piss me off. So when he got slapped, like you said, CDP, I was like, yeah, now what, Tiger? Now what? Fuck that dude. But he came back and he normally come back and vengeance. He would come back with the win after he got a loss. You can't take that from him though. Like the boy would always want to be like, hold up, rematch. It's in the clause.
And he knew when to get out because he knew after that Klitschko fight like that. That's it. Like if I rematch this dude, like once he started putting that, like he said, once you start thinking maybe I can't beat this guy, it's time to go.
That's true. That's true.
I was trying to say, just like you just said just now, he knew when to get out. I was just about to say he knew when to come in. When Tyson, Holyfield, started getting old, you know what I'm saying? Razor Ruddock, all them started getting old and then done, and Tyson started going to jail.
Well, that's the key. Tyson started going to jail because he's older than Tyson.
Yeah.
Because when they all that started happening, that's when he popped in. Because I remember him on Tuesday night fights on ESPN fighting James Thunder and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You can watch that for free. Then all of a sudden, boom, this dude heavyweight champion of the world. Like people were like in my around my friends and stuff. Oh, this motherfucker right here. How come he didn't come in and win da 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 da? You know what I'm saying? That's he got a lot of flack.
Tiger didn't care about that. He was just like, Lennox, though, Lennox.
Hey, Lennox, people was going pro. He was out there fighting for his country, getting gold medals. Like, yeah.
Which was smart, you know what I'm saying? He came when everybody, you know what I'm saying, was down. He came in and got that guap. That's smart.
Well, number 3, I know my top 3 are going to piss people off in the order that they may be in. You know what I'm saying? That's not their order, but I don't give a fuck. This is my top 5. These are my personal favorites. So saying that, coming at number 3, 50 wins, 6 losses, 0 no contest, 50 KOs. Iron Mike Tyson coming at number 3. I don't give a fuck if you 5'5" to 7'7". When you seen young Iron Mike on the other side, you started shaking in your boots. That boy's left hook came from China. It's gonna fuck you up. Those body shots, those little bouncing hooks, man. That to me, that was one of the most coldest punches you could get hit with. Those little bouncing, like you down, then he hit you with the uppercut. And I still remember to this day, like one of the first pay-per-views I dropped on was when he came out of jail. when he's fighting some like Irish dude they put in front of him, some no name they put in front of him, where everybody was
Peter
pumped.
McNeely.
Yeah, McNeely. We must have had like 30 people in the fucking house trying to hover over an old school TV. That motherfucker came out and was like, bing, bing, bing. Whoa, 19 seconds? What the fuck? But Iron Mike, man, you say whatever you want to say with the drugs, the tiger, the women, the fake rape charge or the real rape charge. I wasn't in the room. I don't know, but it ruined my man's career. He could have been even more great. He had to fight his own demons. But Iron Mike Tyson, like early to prime Mike, I roll with all day long. But when he was trying to bite niggas' ears, I couldn't get with him. But then when he got his tattoo on his face, I started rolling with him again. Iron Mike Tyson, man. As far as boxing, as far as fear, as far as my personal favorite, number 3 on my list, man. You can't. I don't give a fuck. You can't tell me nothing about Iron Mike. That dude just seemed like a cool dude to chop up and smoke a blunt with, or you know what I'm saying, go a night on Vegas with too. Like that dude got stories. But hey, they're coming in, man. Iron Mike, number 3. Do your damn thing. I know I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, but fuck y'all. Iron Mike, number 3.
My number 3, you know what I'm saying? I just got to give it to him. He's like one of the most dominant fighters of his time. Is Roy Jones Jr., man. I first seen him when he fought James Toney. And James Toney was that dude. He was that Mike Tyson Jr. damn near. You know what I'm saying? At that time, he was supposed to be the next Mike Tyson. And this dude I ain't never seen before come in, Roy Jones. He made him look like a fool. He made James Toney look like an asshole. Dancing and putting his arms around his back. Like, you gonna put your arms behind your back by James Toney? Like, yeah, he had James Toney at the time. His wife was his trainer or something like that. And James Toney was going back to the corner arguing with his wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? He was going back arguing with his corner. Like, what the fuck? She was like, fight, nigga. He was like, I'm trying. Man, he had people looking like fools. Like Carl said, it got so boring, he had to go up different levels. He went to another level, dominated. Went to another level, dominated. Then he got hit in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people was laughing. It was funny, but he was like 30 pounds overweight, though. You know what I'm saying? People didn't take that in perspective. But Roy Jones changed the game. Yeah, he had a good run, so that's my number 3. It's too bad his chin wasn't that strong. You find like, once he got slipped, it's like the world was on alert. Like, just run at him, hit him in the chin.
Like I was gonna say, like if Roy would have been like boxers today, where you just pretty much stayed just around 2 weight classes, he would have been on a run. I mean, because nowadays it's like people go from 147, 154, 154, 147. You know what I mean? Or they're doing like catch weights. If they get too big, it's like, okay, we'll fight at like 152, and this guy can be this. It's so much terms. If Roy would have stayed, between like middleweight and super middleweight, I don't know. He would have been on a run.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on a run without, you know what I mean? He was on a run anyways. But I'm just saying, like, if he would have stayed in peak shape, where he didn't have to gain weight, drop weight, gain weight, drop weight, it would have been hard for people to eat.
That's my number 3.
That's what's up.
All right, let me go. I'm not number 2. It's hard because I wanted to be a punk and put like 1 and 1A, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not. I'm gonna go straight 2 and then straight 1. It's hard because they're both cultural icons, but I'm gonna go with my number 2 was for Mike Tyson, because I probably watched the lesser of his career than the other guy. So I'm gonna go Mike Tyson 2. I mean, and that was a hard 2 because I think all week I had Tyson at 1. And I had Tyson at 1. It was the fact that he was, he came in at 18 dropping cats. It was a 20-year-old champion. He was terrifying grown men. it was that, but also was his effect on me as a child playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You know what I'm saying? Like he had Mike Tyson's Punch Out, so it was like you didn't have to watch Mike to know who he is. You know what I mean? Like he was the first dude that, you know what I mean, the first boxer like that out there, like branching really outside of boxing where you could market him. Like, and that was it. I mean, the man was named the baddest man on the planet, and nobody said nothing. Nobody disagreed. There's just like, Tyson's the baddest man on the planet? Okay. The man was in wrestling. You know what I mean? The man was there with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
Tyson found his way into my life in other avenues besides boxing. Mind you, he's still putting people to sleep. But Pete Tyson is in the mid to late 80s. He got dropped in what, 91? Was it 91 in Tokyo against Douglas? Or was that like 89 he got dropped?
I want to say it was 92, but it might be 91 or 9. I don't know. Yeah,
like 91, 92. What he got, you know, when he got dropped by Buster, I mean, I was what, like 9? You know what I mean? So I can't be like, yeah, man, I lived the Tyson era. But you know what I mean? I just remember like always going to someone's house to watch the Tyson's fight because you had to watch the Tyson fight because it was like peak pay-per-view almost. Like it was like you had to pay to watch that man.
It was
he coming out with that. Huh?
My bad. It was where the saying came, must see TV came from. Like you had to see that shit. You must.
Like he would come with the cut off towel, you know what I mean? Like a shirt. I mean, he just coming and it's just like, man, like this dude is a monster. He had the voice, but you know what I mean? So he had people out there mocking his voice in living color, you know, all that stuff. Like Mike was just like a cultural icon. Everybody loved Mike. Like all the neighborhoods love Mike. Like I don't really even recall people ever rooting against Mike to lose when he was like peak Mike. You know, it's like everybody loved the beast. You know, everybody loved that. You know, Hangover Mike. Tyson's Ranch Mike. I'm just saying, hot boxing with Mike Tyson. The man's longevity is remarkable. And you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, he came back. He came out of prison. He dropped McNeely. He dropped a couple other people. You know, he had remember he bit Holyfield's ear? Like, dude, he bit Holyfield's ear. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And then spit it out.
And then remember, after he bit his ear, and Holyfield's like, yo, he pushed Holyfield, you know, he pushed him like, yo, what's up? I'm like, he was losing his mind in the ring, and everybody was like, yo, got the tattoo on his face. Oh, man, he came back. You know, he bit Lennox on the leg. Remember when they were having that scrum, and they said Mike was on the bottom biting his leg? He said he was going to eat his children.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. You
know what I'm saying? He was like, I don't want to eat his children, you know? Like, oh, man. Like, that Mike quote was just so hard and so cold. It was just like, man, when he's like, you know, I eat his heart, his family. Like, Mike. Number 2, Mike. And obviously, I mean, he was dropping people left and right. I mean, that's it. You know, it's like the knockout, the names speak for himself. The baddest man on the planet. He was fighting Roy Jones. You could tell he was breaking Roy Jones up on the inside. At 54, he was out there putting it on Roy Jones.
Yeah, Iron Mike, man. Eat your children, though. That was I forgot that, man. I was like, oh my God, Mike, what are you talking about?
I'm gonna eat his children. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, like we was talking about boxing still, right, Mike? Like, damn. Because at the time, you really thought he wanted to eat his children. Like that dude was losing his mind. Like, all right.
No, but he came back. Man, like when you watch his interview, you hear like the ferociousness in his voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to eat his heart. I want to eat his children. And he didn't smile. He just said it like regular, and then he left. It was at the Vegas hockey game, and Chad Johnson went to, you know what I mean, go say hello. And Chad Johnson's cameraman came, And Mike was walking up on the cameraman like, who the fuck is this motherfucker right here with that camera or whatever. Chad was like, yo, chill, he's with me. That story of the Styles P and the Locks when they were in the club, when Tyson was about to take Eve, and they was like, yo, we might have to hit Mike with the knife. Because he was like, we can't beat him in a fight. Yo, like Tyson was just, he was out there. Everybody got a Mike story. He was just that dude. But yeah, Mike. I got Mike. Mike wasn't number one. He was it was hard for those reasons.
All right, coming in number two. Coming in number two is gonna piss a lot of people off. Like I said, from 3-1. But this is my personal favorites. And number two and number one is so close. But hey, number one is my personal all time. So number two, this dude's the bad man, motherfucker. Pound for pound, the greatest boxer they say of all time. 50, 27 KOs, bronze medalist in the Olympics. That can only be Floyd Mayweather Jr. And it was really hard to not put that dude at number one. I mean, he fought De La Hoya, he fought Cosley, he fought Marquez, he fought Alvarez, he fought fucking Pacquiao, he fought fucking dude. The list goes on and on. Who he fought and just whooped their ass either on the card or he got 27 KOs, so he put a few people down. It was just real hard. I mean, the Philly Shuffle is almost the most impenetrable defense of all time. The man changed the game of boxing for me from like just boxing to like I'm gonna promote this shit to I'm gonna make it worldwide. The boy talks a lot of shit, backed it up every single time, obviously, which is much respect for that. I mean, there were just countless times like when he fought De La Hoya, he came out with the sombrero and the fucking poncho. I was loving that. When he fought Pacquiao, it was like, yo, fuck the Filipinos. I was loving that. I mean, the dude just a shit talker and backs it up with his fist. I just love that about him. I love the fact that he bet on himself and said, fuck you, Bob Arams. Fuck you trying to rape me out of my money. I'm going to bet on myself. And now we have the money team. Shout out to the money team. But like I said, I'm pissing a lot of people off. Floyd Mayweather Jr., number two on my list. Shout out to Senior. I know him and his uncle taught this dude everything they could. But, man, I just couldn't put him as number one. But the man changed the game on all boxing, period. I mean, he went from, hey, you get 10% to fuck that. I give you 10%. Like, the dude he's just a mastermind genius. But we're not going to talk about outside the ring and his problems with his wife and all that. But inside the ring, the dude is 50-0. I mean, come on, man. Come on. 50-0. You can't knock that. So coming at number two, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Great boxer, just not my number one.
My number two, I'm gonna keep it going. That's my number two, Floyd Mayweather. And
Junior?
Yeah, Junior, Floyd Mayweather Jr., 50-0. I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all. Because I thought he was catching boxers when they was old. But and he don't give no rematches, which is smart. But I didn't like that. But business-wise, that's smart. You know what I mean? Because, they probably got notes on you now. So, I'm going to fight him, you know what I mean? But, yeah, he changed the game. You know what I'm saying? He changes boxers' lives when they fight him. After a win or lose, after a Mayweather fight, their life is just, they go from a Toyota to a Bentley. You know what I mean? McGregor, he don't even want to fight no more, it seemed like, It's just, your life changes, you know what I'm saying, financially after you fight him. That's just how good he is. But I'll try to say, thanks to the great Jay Prince getting that Bob Arams contract, that slave contract. If it wasn't for Jay Prince, he'd be over there like Terrence Crawford right now. Not going to fight any good, just fight little bum-ass fights and like a slave. You know what I'm saying? Crawford should go holler at Jay Prince, matter of fact. But, yeah, Floyd Mayweather, I watched a lot of fights, rooted against him. he beat him. He beat him. He beat him. It's like he beat me into submission. Like, dude is just bad, man. And he talk a lot of shit. He backs it up. The dude is just like, and I'm out here in Vegas. Dude is like a god. Like, what is it? The MGM casino, whatever, hotel, whatever. When he fight, when they said Mayweather getting money, they changed the name to Mayweather getting money. You doing shit like that, man, you gotta be bad. So yeah, he's a bad dude, man. He's a bad dude, but it seemed like, you know what I'm saying, all the shit talk is just for promotion. He probably really a solid dude behind the scene, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Floyd Mayweather, that's my number two. Like, he beat me into becoming a fan. He beat it into me, like, you know what I mean? I swore when I changed, when he beat Zab Judah, I'm a big Zab Judah fan. Zab was tagging that ass, and after round 6, like, Mayweather took it to another level. Like, all that shit just stopped, you know? I think what it was, he started just doing the defense, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, Marcus, he went to that defense instead of trying to outbox Zab. He went to the defense, and after that, it was just Operation Shutdown, you know?
The greatest defense I've seen in my life, Floyd Mayweather. Like, Roy Jones Jr. is up there, but like y'all said earlier, he started doing that, like, fancy shit where when Floyd Mayweather Jr. just gets in there, pure business, like, wait, what? You can't stop that defense, like, all right. But
Just hitting him in the shoulder, that's all, you know what I mean? Like,
Flurry, like that's
everybody's like, oh shit, he's tagging every time. You play the slow motion, it's like just, you know what I mean? Just hit him in the shoulder. He ain't tripping. You know what I mean?
That's what's messing up Crawford's career too. It's like, I mean, I hope he gets out of Bob Arum's contract and goes and signs with somebody else. But cause I think after this fight he's up. But I'm just like, it's like one of those, if the tree falls in the forest and nobody is around, doesn't make a sound. You know what I mean? It's like Terrence Crawford's fighting people nobody cares about. So I haven't watched a Terrence Crawford fight. I seen him get what was it? He was fighting some nobody. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings with my wife and some friends, and the dude dropped him like early in the fight, like a flash knockdown, and it was like some, you know what I mean, some guy I never heard of. After that fight, I was like, you know what, I gotta chill spending my hard-earned free time. You know what I mean, watching somebody fight nobodies. Well, I haven't seen Crawford. I hope he gets to fight my boy Errol Spence Jr., you know, because I like Crawford a lot, but I like Spence a little more.
yeah, that's the fight they want to see. As long as he wins tomorrow night, that's the fight that people want to see.
But there you go. Right. Let me get to my number one. My number one, there's no drama here. Rocky Balboa, the Italians. No, I'm just playing. I'll be like, he lost to Apollo. He came back. He beat Clubber Lane. He beat Ivan Drago. No, it's no drama here. It's Floyd Mayweather Jr. From the bulk of my mature life, or from my teen to adult life, there's been one boxer that, like I said, I really don't focus too much on the past. There's been one boxer in my time, in my era, that's pretty much dominated the sport of boxing, and Mayweather Jr. He's number one to me on the same thing like Tyson for what he's done inside and outside of the ring. Taking where Oscar left off, because see, Mike and them, Ali and Mike, they were hyping up another man, and they were making money for another man. De La Hoya started the independence rolling when he got out from Bob Arum, and then Floyd followed him and just took it to another level of boxer empowerment, of, you know what I'm saying, getting this money, getting this bread, being smart, not listening to people. Like, you ain't got to go out there and get your brain knocked around, you know what I mean? Like, that ain't necessarily boxing. That's a style, that's a form of boxing. But, but Floyd, I mean, he's just a master of his craft. All of his fights, it's the same thing. A lot of them were one-sided. And a lot of them, you know what I mean? it's more or less of like just the skill, just watching the man not get hit, no matter who it is, or at the time that he fought him, you just never believed in nobody. Like even though like Canelo was still very young, it's like, okay, well, if he was Canelo of now and he would have fought the Canelo of now, he would have did the same thing, because he's like a step ahead, and he makes his own adjustments really as a fighter. He don't really, you know what I mean? It's like he's constantly changing his approach 2 rounds. He'll give up the first one to see, okay, this is what the guy's got, this is what he's coming with, and then you'll see his style change. Later on in his career, he did like Roy Jones and got more of the little pop shots and not getting hit and just pop shots like that for show. But remember, when he was young, he kept breaking his hand. So, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't never been no power person. But like Shannon said, he got enough just to keep you off of him. Like, just to like, okay, move around, hit you at some angles, get off, you know what I mean? And that was it. Floyd, he's a boss. He dictates terms. It's like get down or lay down. You want to get paid? Floyd, you know what I mean? You do exactly what I say and you meet me in this ring. And that's Floyd. And whether it's McGregor or Zab Judah or Miguel Cotto, who now that I think about it, probably could have been on my list somewhere. Pacquiao, whatever, the names are there. Whatever age they were, that's just whatever time business got done, because the business gets done first for Floyd. You know what I mean? He ain't trying to meet you at the parking lot. You know what I mean? None of that. Like, you gonna meet and it's gonna be whatever. Floyd, man, he was the pretty boy with the chinchilla trunks, boxing, yelling out Super Bowl playoff predictions and then Super Bowl predictions on the side. That was it. When it was money, when he let the hair go, that's it. That's what it was. It was money time. That's it. Biggest pay-per-view sales of all time. Like Chris said, the man pretty much, he's got a fingerprint out there in Vegas. He always made sure Vegas got their money. He never took a fight outside of Vegas. When he, like Chris said, when he's fucking with the MGM, like they were having like exclusives, like, yo, no other casino can see this. Like you know what I mean? Like, if you want it, you got to come here and watch it. It got that crazy. But Floyd, number one.
Yeah, even said I was across the street when Tupac got shot and walked off. That's all he said. He said, all I gotta say is I was across the street when that happened. Tupac, who killed Tupac?
Definitely a good number one. Obviously, he made my number 2 list. Like I told you, I'm gonna piss motherfuckers off and I'm gonna keep that record going. This man had 55 wins, 8 losses, two draws, 2 no contests, 33 KOs. This man's my favorite boxer of all time. This man came to the ring with the motherfucking execution mask, throwing up the X after everything. That's my motherfucking boy, B-Hop, Bernard Hopkins, man. I love this dude for the simple fact, like I said, when I started watching him, kind of like Tiger said, from that young adolescence to like early manhood, I was like, look at this dude right here, just knocking motherfuckers out, just looking like the everyday man, just coming up there, just like, look, take this shit off, fuck you up, put the shit back on, give it to the people. One of the best fights, like you said, when he grabbed that Puerto Rican flag and just threw that shit down, I was like, yeah, fuck Puerto Rico. Shout out to all my Puerto Rico people, though. But at the time, I was like, yeah, fuck Puerto Rico. I love that dude. He made some bad decisions later on in his career, trying to fuck with the wrong people at the wrong time. I wish he had Floyd Mayweather's, like, business sense. But that boy was just a bad mamma jamma. I don't know what it is. But when he just came out to that ring with the executioner mask and then backed it up, I was sold. What they say, love at first sight. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. Then he threw up the X. Like I said, man, it just seemed like one of us was out there in the ring. Like, okay, I can fuck with this dude. This dude cool. Bernard Hopkins, my favorite boxer of all time. If I pissed you off, I don't give a damn. Throwing up the X. B-Hop. Number 1 on my list. Let's go.
Yeah, on number 1, Mike Tyson, man. Hands down, Mike Tyson, like, man, you watch it. When I was young, you watched a Mike Tyson fight. It was like I don't know if folks out there watch WWF, not WWF. Undertaker came out, and that room got dark, and they started playing that music. And Undertaker rolls out that casket. You can't tell me you didn't get goosebumps in your hair standing up on the back of your neck. Man, that's what you got when Mike Tyson came out, walking into that ring, man. The dude was just crazy. He was just phenomenal. Pay-per-view. That's when I first started learning about pay-per-view. Motherfuckers was spending like $60, $70 to watch three bums fight and get to watch the main fight for 2 minutes. Complain about that, but then go back and spend the rest of the night talking about how Tyson knocked that dude out in 1 minute. You know what I'm saying? That the dude was just, like you said, he used to wrestle with his tigers. He had the Ferraris, he had the houses, man, Tyson was rolling like the president, man. He was that dude. He whooped Green ass when he seen him at the restaurant. He whooped his ass. You know what I'm saying? It's just, man, he get it on. And
Mike was like the boxing Scarface.
And he was up there with Jordan. He was giving Jordan a run for his money. And I remember the night. Shout out 7th Street, Southside, Stockton, California. I remember the night I was watching ESPN and it flashed up on the screen. Tyson just got knocked out. It was like seven something in the evening because over there in Tokyo, on a whole different time, it was still sunlight outside. It was like, Tyson just got knocked out. Like the whole world stopped. Like I had to step. I was young. I had to step outside and catch my breath. Like what? What the fuck? But you know, he was just that dude, man. Then he went down for the little rape thing, and nowadays him and that lady is cool now. And it's just the cold part about it. She said she got mad at him because he bopped her in the ass. She didn't like that, so she called rape on him. That's the only reason why she called rape, because she didn't want to do the way he wanted to do it. And then he forced, whatever. I ain't gonna say forced, but, she didn't like it. So she called rape. But, yeah, man. Dude was just that dude, man. Like I said, he changed the atmosphere when he stepped out. Like, if you can remember when Undertaker first came out in WWF, that's what you got when you got a Tyson fight. That same exact feeling. Like, oh, shit. Like, you know what I mean? Hair up on your neck. Goosebumps. So that would be my number one. And like I said, my list is based on people that I've seen actual fights. You know what I'm saying? But that's my top 5.
The thing with Tyson too, there was no YouTube back then. So if you didn't pay to see his fight, you wasn't gonna see it because they couldn't really show it. Back then they couldn't really show the pay-per-view footage on TV. So you know what I mean? Like you couldn't see that on the news. Like you couldn't just like, oh, Mike got dropped, and like it's on the evening news. Like you had to wait until enough time went by where they released the footage. Yeah. But I was with my dad at his friend's house. I can't remember whose house it was, but it was one of his friends watching the fight that day, and like you started to sense the uneasiness in the room from them early. I was like watching it, but it's like you just expect Mike to win, so you're kind of like watching it. Then everybody's like quiet, and then you look, you're like, damn, it's like round 4. And then as it goes on, you kind of get that, oh no, like it's coming. Then when he got dropped, there's some grown people crying, man. I mean, it was sadness. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember that.
Yeah, he was going. I didn't know. Like he crashed his Ferrari or something into a tree. He was going through the divorce with her. Oh, what's her name?
Robin Givens.
He was going through the divorce with her, so his mind wasn't even into that fight, obviously.
And then his original trainer died around that time too. That old white dude that like picked him up from the beginning too. So yeah. So that had to hurt. That dude seen a diamond in the rough that the whole world would appreciate. Like you.
The person he respected, really.
Yeah, basically his second dad or whatever. But that's our list of our greatest top five. I got B Hop number one, CDP got Iron Mike, and Tiger got the Money Mayweather. Hey, you could call what it is. Those are our people at number one. Let us know who you like. Let us know who your number one boxer is. Who we miss. Who should have been an honorable mention. It's just hard putting people's names in there. Like Tiger said, the sport of boxing, the sport's been around for a good 100+ years, but boxing's been around since the dawn of time. So, if we missed somebody or you liked it, smash that like button, hit those comments. But that's it, man. That's our fighters. B Hop all day, all night. Common Sense Marcus out.
Yeah, like I said, everybody, that's it. You know what I mean? That's our boxers. I said, man, Tyson and Floyd, that's two goats. Like for what they are in and out of boxing. Mike, it's like I almost like Mike more out of boxing because I've seen him so much out of boxing. It's just his longevity's crazy. But I mean, Floyd was undefeated, left with all his bearings intact. You know what I mean? The man got no injuries. I mean, he got out before box. There's probably nobody else on this list that ain't have a sad ending. You know what I mean? B Hop got dropped on his way out. Lewis, everybody knows he didn't want Klitschko in a rematch. Jones, I mean, he got dropped on his way out. Mike,
his glass chin got discovered.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Chavez, Pacquiao got dropped. It's like Whitaker lost by decision. There's nobody else that ain't that, you know what I mean, that don't have a sad end to their story. But that's it. That's my five, my honorable mentions. 209 Tiger, I'm out.
And for any merch, any opinions, comments, leave your top five at number three. Number three, 3 reasons 2020 at gmail.com. Hit us up on the Gmail. 3 reasons 2020 at gmail.com. And then, show some love with the Cash App at $CDP209. And like and subscribe. Hit the like and subscribe button. Tell your folks, pass it on, share it. We trying to come up and give y'all what we feel, give y'all the news of what's going on, in life in general.
We want to be in your top 5 podcast. We want to be in that rotation, your top 5 podcast, man. Put us in that loop.
Yeah. But that's all we got right now. Y'all stay prayed up, Where there's smoke, there's fire, and enjoy these holidays as safely as we can be. All right? And go to your family's house. Fuck what they talking about. Go visit your family.
Yeah.
With no mask.
All that Newsome silliness, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's flu season, you know what I'm saying? Like, cover yourself up. Use, you know what I mean? Make sure you clean your hands. Use tissue. You know what I mean? If somebody's sick, leave their ass at home. That's it. I mean, don't worry about no minor illnesses. Or if you are that scared, stay in the house and watch our podcast till your vaccine comes. And go back out in the world.
Yeah. Other than that, like I said, stay prayed up, be safe, and we'll see y'all next week.